everybody. My name is, for those of you that don't know, my name is Louise Sawicki. I'm a calm coach and workplace wellbeing strategist. So I help teach people just like you how to use calm as their strategic advantage, one calm moment at a time, before calm becomes your operating system, before it becomes the way you lead, how you act. So welcome. I just want to thank you all so much for being here today. For those that know me, hello. Those that don't, welcome. Those listening on the recording, I just want to say thank you for listening. And we are, as I said, this is going to be recorded, so anyone who jumps on after, it's going to be very interactive. So if you want to say something, if you've got a comment, please contribute. But if you don't want to be on the screen, that is completely fine. Just add it to the chat box and we'll get to it when we get to it. But obviously the more that you partake, the more that you're going to get out of it. So welcome. So I'm going to do something a bit off script straight off the bat. So if everyone's comfortable, hey Di, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I want you all to just close your eyes before we begin. Have your feet on the ground. And I want you just to take breath in and out. Okay, letting go of all of the stress of today, the stress of the first week back, whatever's happened in your life, the next 45 minutes, leave that at the door. Okay, so just breathing in and out. And as long as the out breath is a little bit longer than the in breath, it's just allowing us to go into that parasympathetic nervous system and calm your stress response. Keep your eyes closed and just breathing in and out. So while we're here, I want to have you to have a think about your intention for today. Why you're here? What is it you want to, is there something you want to let go of? Is there something you want to step into? Is it you want to find more clarity, calm, feel more in control? Whatever it is, set that intention now. And if you can't think of anything, what I want you to do is drop from your head down into your heart and ask your heart why you're here today. What is your intention? What is it you want to let go of? Who is that person you want to step into? Intentions are premonitions. I want to get very clear on what we want. Able to move towards that a whole lot quicker. So when you're clear on your intention, then float above your timeline and into the future, to 6 months into the future, to that woman that's embodied that intention, those feelings, what you want to let go of, what you want to step into. What does she look like? How does she feel? How does she act? How does she hold herself? It's the energy that she projects to the world. That's the version of you that you're going to step into today. Breathe into that. Anchor that into your nervous system. When you're ready, only when you're ready, open your eyes. So keep that in mind. We're going to come back to that in a second. But I just want to formally welcome you again and everyone else that's just joined us. So we're here to, obviously, what's the purpose of today? What does calm even mean? Why are we here? I mean, there's a lot of misconception about calm. It's a nice to have. It's something you feel when you leave work, sitting on your couch, got a wine in hand. Maybe you're going on holidays, you feel calm, you feel content, you feel light, you feel free. But day to day, it's just not something that's possible. But it is, because calm it's not a personality trait. It's not a nice to have. It's not just something that you can achieve or feel from time to time. It's actually biology. It's your thoughts. It's your beliefs. It's your learned behaviours. It's part of your body. We get to change that. We get to create. Once we know that, once we have the right tools, the strategies, the roadmap forward, we get to create calm in our body that's repeatable. It gets to become our operating system, our new way of working. And if it was before, and maybe life's happened and it seems to be lost under the weight of life, then it's time to rediscover it today. Now, obviously, 45 minutes is just a small snapshot of what's possible, but this is the first step, the first calm moment towards creating calm as your full-time operating strategy. So welcome. Who wants to put in the chat box what your intention was today?
In fact, I just finished reading it when the
I'm just going to stop sharing so I can see.
I'm fine.
Can I just ask that everyone puts their microphones on mute?
38, 54, and 34 slash 75 in.
All right, Alison. Be calmer in my daily interactions with people, no flapping under pressure. Amazing. Anyone else? Your intention for today? Was it to feel lighter? Was it to feel calmer? Maybe you don't know. Maybe it's just there was something. Leading by example and how to self-regulate myself. Absolutely. Is there anyone else? I mean, for me, the shift was I didn't actually realise how stressed I was until there was a number of different, I guess, sliding door moments when it really came to light, and then I did realise how stressed I was. But before, it was showing up as being alert or being tired but wide, or just feeling like there's a constant buzz but not really understanding what that was. All right, so let me go back to my thing. All right, so a little bit of a background about me. I mean, I've always lived my life up until the last couple of years in, well, at least low-grade stress, if not high-grade stress. I was the responsible one. I am the eldest child in the family. I'm the sister of someone who has a disability, so there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. I was seen as the capable one. I loved a to-do list. I still do. Loved being in control. I got everything done. You know, I was the person that got it done. I was seen as resilient. I was seen as strong. I was seen as very capable. You just couldn't help me because I was so good at it. But the problem with that was, on the outside, everyone thought that I looked fine, together, capable. But on the inside, it was a completely different story. And I didn't even realise this until I was 6 years into a fertility journey. I was diagnosed with celiac disease, chronic fatigue, adrenal fatigue and depression. And there were a couple of sliding door moments where I realised that I just couldn't do this anymore. I couldn't live like this. Something had to change. And surely this wasn't normal. Yet we've just normalised being stressed. We've normalised being busy. We've normalised having 1,000 things on our to-do list. And if we don't accomplish those things, then we feel like we've failed, or we've been lazy, or we just haven't got it together, or whatever it is. But we can't, our bodies aren't designed to be like this. They're not designed to sit in this fight, flight, this low-grade stress. And it's okay until it's not okay and something happens. Now, it might not be as dramatic as my story, because every journey is obviously different. Your journey is different to mine. But what I do know is that you know what stress is, and that it's not good for us to live, for our mental and physical health, to live in some form of constant stress. Because at some point, it all starts to unravel. And that's why we're here today. The January reality. January is obviously, it's meant to be a month where there's a lot of excitement, there's anticipation, it's all a month of new beginnings. We do New Year's resolutions. Like it's meant to be a month of excitement, of possibilities, of new beginnings, of everything that can happen in the year and all the exciting possibilities. But if the year before wasn't the year that you thought it was going to be, there can be a lot of pressure. And if it was the year, if it was a really great year, there is also a lot of pressure, a pressure to make it a better year, to build on the momentum, or to change from the year before. And this obviously carries with it a lot of stress. And I like to think of January as the month, think of it as the morning routine. So obviously the research and the studies show that the morning routine sets us up for success. Morning is where we make our day. We make or break our day. No successful person in the world says that they don't have a morning routine. And January is a bit the same, isn't it? It's setting our year up for success. So this is a really important month for us. So if in this month we can recognise the stress, recognise the pressure, recognise the responsibility we're carrying, and then start to make the necessary steps forward to help ease that pressure, then your year is going to, I mean, sure, life happens, obviously, it's life, isn't it? But the year is going to flow much more easily and effortlessly than if you start the year with this stress, this responsibility, and this constant pressure. Okay, so what happens when we're dysregulated? What does that mean? What happens when we don't feel safe? What happens when we're not calm? I mean, we're always wired, we're always on. It might look like feeling snappy, emotionally flat, mental noise, anxiety, overwhelm, tight chest, tummy issues, health issues. I mean, it can look very different for each and every one of us. But there's always something inside of us that we know that we're starting to run on empty, or that something has to change, or that there needs to be a shift of some description. Otherwise, our body and our mind is going to say, hang on, enough's enough at some point. It might just feel like you just don't feel aligned, or you don't feel happy. You can't find your happy heart, whatever it is. This happens. These are classic signs that our nervous system is dysregulated, which means we're living in constant stress response. And so why does that matter? Because when we're stressed, our amygdala is on and our prefrontal cortex goes offline. by up to 70%. So that's responsible for all of our clear thinking, our decision making. That's where our values are, our beliefs, like all the biggies there. So that's why we feel like we've sometimes got brain fog or we can't think clearly. A stressed mind and body cannot find solutions that a calm mind and body can. So the solution is often right in front of us, but we can't see it because we can't think straight. We don't have clarity, our resilience goes down. So this is why calm is so important in our lives. So why it matters, obviously, when we're calm, well, our reduced cortisol levels, adrenaline, all those stress hormones, our prefrontal cortex comes back online. It restores access to improves judgment, decision making, or everything we talked about, sustainable performance, how we show up, how we lead as humans, professionally, personally. And today I want you to know that any one of us can access calm. It's not a personality trait. We're not either wired for calm or we are. It's just about understanding the operational strategies that you need to take on board in order to find calm within you. So I'm going to ask you a question. When was the last time that you felt calm? Just happy to, if you want to answer speaking, or you can put it in the chat box. When was the last time that you felt calm? Years. Yeah. On holidays? Yeah, absolutely. Wine in hand, on the couch, on the weekend. So what do you think then is stopping you from feeling that calm now on a daily basis, every day, becoming part of your operating system, your internal operating system? I mean, what? Responsibility? Yeah. To-do list, demands, yeah. So when we have responsibility, when we have demands on our life, when we've got a to-do list, when our brain doesn't switch off, that's when we go into the stress response, responsibility. I've got responsibility, it feels heavy, I start to get low-grade stress. Now, on the outside, you might not feel like you were stressed and you're still showing up, you're getting it done, but it's on the inside that there's this low-grade hum of stress, and that starts to eat away at your mental and your physical health. So if we had the tools, the strategies, the know-how to be able to, in that moment, bring our stress levels down, calm our nervous system, then even though we've still got responsibility, even though we've still got demands, even though we've still got a to-do list that is ridiculously long, that is as high as Mount Everest, the responsibility and the demands don't change, but how we feel about it does. The heaviness, that stress, that gets to dissolve, and we can calmly go about our day, our to-do lists, our responsibilities, our demands, without the stress in the background. How do we do that? Well, how on earth do I do that, says everyone. I mean, there's obviously a lot more to it, but this is one tool. This is a very simple tool. I talk about this a lot. This is the one tool that will change your life. For those that you know me, we talk about this a lot. So this is your reminder. For those of you that don't, this tool will change your life research shows that it takes 90 seconds to process one emotion. Stress chemistry peaks and passes in under 90 seconds. So if we let every emotion just ride the wave through our body without giving it any power, without giving it any thoughts, without adding any extra weight to it, then within 90 seconds, that emotion, that stress response will pass. So you think about a toddler. They're experts at this. They chuck a tantrum, they throw themselves on the floor, they carry on. It is next level. It goes from 0 to hero, but then hero to 0 pretty quickly. So that's a toddler actually playing out their emotions, how they're feeling in the moment, and doing it very naturally. We as adults, we don't do that. It's not socially acceptable. But that's actually, they're allowing that emotion, whatever it is, to pass through their body. Once it passes, it settles, and it's like it never happened. Now, that's not necessarily the way it always works, obviously. But knowing that you have in that moment, whatever emotion you're feeling, if stress levels peak, within 90 seconds, if you don't give that any power, you'll be able to breathe again and you'll be able to move through that. How do you do that? My favourite way of doing that is literally what's fear, what's stress, what's anxiety? They're all future-based emotions. We come up with some reason why something's not going to work out. We come up with a story in our head, don't we? So that's what actually causes the stress. It's future pacing what may or may not happen. We wake up in the morning, we've got 1,000 things to do, got a lot of responsibility, we've got a lot of things in our to-do list. What if I can't get them all done? I don't have enough time in the day. How is this all going to work? Car breaks down, laptop stops working. How on earth am I going to get all this done? So then all of a sudden we're out in the future with future pacing. We've come up with all of the reasons why we cannot, in that moment, do what we need to do. And that's where stress takes over, and that's where the momentum builds. And then all of a sudden the day, it starts to really, you lose that day, don't you? But in the morning, if you were to wake up and you were to say, yes, I've got a lot to do, but I'm going to get it done easily and effortlessly. And if that stress response takes over, and you go, ground yourself. What is it I can feel, see, taste, smell in the moment? Because your body and your brain cannot be in the present moment and feeling fear and anxiety and stress at the same time. We're not wired like that. So if you can ground yourself in the present moment, pause, breathe, something you can see, touch, feel, and you've broken that cycle. And it's going to happen again, of course. I mean, it'll happen again, and it'll probably happen again. But then if you take control and break that state, break the cycle, soon enough, whatever you were thinking about, stressing about, doesn't seem so powerful. It might even go away. And obviously, the more you do this, the better you get at it. The better you get at it, the more powerful it is. But if you do this every morning and do this every time, you start noticing when stress starts to take over or fear starts to take over or the weight of responsibility, like, how am I going to do this? Okay, I just need to bring myself back to safety. I'm starting to get stressed. 90-second reset. The stress will pass in 90 seconds. And then once the stress is passed, your prefrontal cortex starts to come back online. You think more clearly. I guarantee you'll find a solution that you didn't have when you were in that moment stressed, which could have been straight right in front of you. Okay, so 90-second, when we did the first breathing exercise, that was nearly for 90 seconds. Did you feel anything shift in your body? Did you feel anything? Do you feel calmer? Did you feel like you think more clearly? What changed? Let me know in the chat box for you. Became more present and centered, absolutely. So if you could do that, so your intention was to be calmer in daily interactions with people, no flapping under pressure. And then after that 90 seconds, you became more present and centered. That flapping, that pressure that you feel, that's actually a stress response. So if you in that moment can bring your body back using the 90-second tool, regulate your nervous system, the need to flap, be triggered, feel under pressure, that starts to dissolve. And then you can think more clearly and you can come up with a solution in that moment with you know, in your daily interactions with the people that you're with, from a clear, calm, concise, more in control position. Does that make sense, everyone? Yeah. Is there anyone else that wanted to add anything to that? What shifted? Oh, I missed the very beginning, but when I've done this in the past, I immediately know, yeah. So we hold tension in our shoulders, jaw, that's a big one. I mean, for me, it's tendon. I feel tight tendons. Your body always is telling you when you're the first stress responders, which means that you're living in some form of low-grade stress in that point in time. You mightn't feel it, but your body is telling you, your nervous system is telling you. So if you can become uber aware of those first stress responders, imagine if you use that tool. Imagine the difference that would make in that moment. And this is just scratching the surface, but that's the power that we have, and we just don't realise it. Okay. The circle of control. Everyone's probably seen this before. And it is a really simple concept, but it's actually really powerful. I mean, obviously at the core, it's the circle of control, what we can control, what we can't control. When we're calm, when we're regulated, we naturally stay focused on what we can control, what's inside our control, the circle of control, my breath, my nervous system, my habits, my mindset, what I'm putting in my body, all of these things. When we're stressed, overwhelmed, or living in survival mode, that low-grade stress even, we drift to the outward, into the things that we can't control. And that's where the stress really ramps up, doesn't it? Because we go into control, certainty, safety, they're all basic human needs. And when we're focusing on things we can't control, well, obviously we can't control them. So then our stress levels start to rise. For many of us, this control, you know, it's been part of who we are for a very long time. It's how we've stayed safe. It's the stories that we're telling ourselves. It's our learned behaviours. It's our beliefs. Maybe we've picked it up from family members, from mum and dad, from brothers and sisters, from teachers even. And it's how we've made life work up until this point. So the nervous system says, if I can control it, I'm going to be okay. And of course that makes sense. But focusing on our energy on things we can't control, creates stress. Other people's reactions, timelines, outcomes, external uncertainty, how things should go. That's a big one. It should go like this. And if it doesn't, then our body goes into stress. So it reads it as a threat. If it doesn't go according to plan, it reads it as a threat. So when I talk about calm leadership, this is the pivot point. Calm doesn't come from controlling more. It comes from redirecting your energy back into the circle of control, which is your breath. Talk about breath, your response, the lens you look at life through, your language, where you place your attention, how you recover after stress. And the next right step, not the whole staircase. And this is really important because we can tend to look at the mountain, not the next right step. And if we look at the next right step, one calm moment at a time, then that's when we get to see momentum shift. That's when we get to change. That's when we get to create the internal environment that feels aligned. Our decision-making obviously improves. Our certainty in our decisions increases. We don't need everything to be certain because we are certain within ourselves. So I want you to think about, where am I spending energy on things that I can't control? And what happens in my body when I do? So where am I spending energy on things that I can't control? Is it interactions, how somebody should act, what they should be doing? Is it timelines? Is it maybe at work, personal life? What is it? And then thinking about, well, what it actually is in my control right now. So if you'd like to answer any of those, you can feel free to put it in the chat box, or what's actually in my control right now? How can I bring calm into my life, even though I can't change anything that's happened? I can't change the fact that the technology broke down on me today and I've got a lot to do. And it means that it's going to take me a lot longer. That's okay. How I react. Yeah, absolutely. Because that's everything. We can't control anything in our life except how we react. And how we react is based on our perception of a situation, which then directly links back to our stress response and our internal narrative. Okay, how calm changes leaders. Obviously, we've talked about that, how we make decisions, handle uncertainty, communicate under pressure, lead without burnout. I'm not going to go too much into that. Calm leadership method. I want to just briefly talk about this. So this calm leadership method, this is essentially the 90-second reset. We've just talked about, well, we've talked about the circle of control. So, and then we talked about the 90-second reset. So this is just the entry point. So this calm leadership method, this is what makes calm repeatable. This is what makes calm your internal operating system. This is what makes calm your non-negotiable. This is what makes calm and your nervous system say, I'm safe right now. So obviously we've all felt calm once. We felt it briefly before, but this isn't just about, okay, I feel calm in the moment. This is about how we can make it our operating system. And it's not just about settling yourself once. It's about what happens after the moment. And this is why my work follows 4 simple stages. Number 1, regulate. So we've touched on that today, obviously. Number 2, it's rewire. Number 3, reconnect. And 4, restore. So number 1, regulate. So this is the foundation. Think about this is the bricks and mortar. So this is where the 90-second reset lives, and this is where this workshop sits. It's about settling your body first. You can't think your way out of stress. You can't think yourself calm. It sits here. It's biology. It sits in your nervous system. So before people get very, this is why New Year's resolutions don't work, most of them. This is why anything we try that's new feels hard, and a lot of the time we give up before we get to the point where it feels easy. This is why, because when we try something new, when something's different, it creates a stress response in the body, because the body, the mind, we like safety, we like certainty, and even though that thing or that action or that aligned belief or that way of living, isn't serving you, it feels safe because there's certainty, because you know the outcome. So if we're going to do something new, regulate is the number one. Before you do that new thing, you having a calm nervous system means you're thinking clearly. Remember, your prefrontal cortex is online. So that means that you are more likely to do the thing. You are more likely to stick it out. You're more likely to keep going to the gym or pick up that new habit and run with it, or drop the not so great habit, because you're thinking clearly. The research shows us that when, just to give you an example, I went to of what stress does. I went to a Victor Chang Research Cardiac Institute dinner a little while ago, and they were talking about stress on the body, and this is heart, obviously, and the impact that has on the heart. And most people think that stress is the common, has the highest impact on heart health and disease. And in some ways it does. But what we were talking about at the dinner was, it's actually not the stress itself. It's the decisions we make when we're in a stress state. So when we're stressed, we make poor lifestyle decisions. We make poor eating habit decisions. We're not looking after our mental health, our physical health. So it's not actually the stress itself. It's the decisions that we're making when we're under stress, because our prefrontal cortex is offline. So this is why regulation is so important. And this is why understanding how to calm your nervous system in the beginning is so important. So number 2, it's rewire. So this is where, once we've settled our nervous system, our mind becomes more accessible. So this is about the old patterns. This is about our beliefs. This is about default reactions that we have, triggers that we have. Maybe it's perfectionism. Maybe it's having the need to control all the time, the need to be in urgency. Whatever it is, they're stories we're telling ourselves, they're patterns that we've picked up along the way. And it's not about fixing yourself, because there's nothing to fix. It's just about updating these old patterns to ones that are more useful and they're going to serve you moving forward. And it's always great to ask you, is the response coming from a present moment, or is it an old survival strategy? And when you think of it like that, it takes the power away from the moment, because chances are it's an old survival strategy coming into play. Number 3, it's reconnect. So when the nervous system is regulated and the noise quietens, something important happens. We reconnect with our values, our intuitions. We reconnect head to heart. This is where your decisions start to feel really clear. You stop outsourcing certainty. You start trusting yourself. Leadership becomes quieter but stronger. And reconnect is where you start leading from yourself again. And finally, restore. So this is the part that most leadership models miss. It's about making calm, sustainable. It's not just about feeling better today. So it's about changing how you recover, how you respond, and returning to your baseline, that person that got lost, probably under the weight of life. It's about rediscovering that person again and making calm your non-negotiable default operating system, even when things are uncertain. And this is when it's more powerful because life is full of uncertainty. So it's about being able to come back to calm even when life is uncertain. All right. Does anyone have, if you've got a pen and paper, if you don't, that's no worries. Just 3 reflection questions. I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes. We're running short of time, so I'm just going to spend, if everyone's got 5 minutes over, I'll spend a couple of minutes on this and then a couple of minutes on questions. But so reflections, what have I been carrying that I no longer need? What would change if calm became my default instead of stress? And what would leadership feel like if I was regulating, if that was my operating strategy? Anyone like to share? Can I just ask that everyone puts their microphones on mute, please? Now, does anyone feel, there's no need to share, you don't have to share with this one. Anyone feel comfortable sharing anything? If not, no stress at all. If calm became my default, I would make better decisions and better life choices, absolutely. I need to stop carrying others' problems. And I think for the last bullet, my answer would be feel less stressful and more in control. Yeah, absolutely. So do you think today, do you feel more empowered to take all of this on board and create that life for yourselves? Absolutely, more clarity. Absolutely. Okay, I am going. Now, does anyone have any questions before we've got one more in the chat box. Hang on. Absolutely, yeah. Okay. Does anyone have any questions before we go? Because I'm very conscious of time. No? Well, I just want to thank you all for being here today. I have a downloadable called the Calm Woman Reset. If you feel called to download that, just scan obviously the QR code there. But if anything spoke to you, I'd love to catch up for a virtual coffee date at some point. Please reach out, and I will send you the recording tomorrow, but please reach out and I'd love to chat and learn more about you individually. Well, 2 more chats. More empowered. Thank you. No worries, ladies. I just want to, as I said, thank you